Why don't we go ahead and get started? It is 7 o'clock, and it is good to see everybody on this Tuesday evening. I'll call the meeting to order. And we've got 7 items on the consent agenda that are listed. And do I hear a motion that we approve the consent agenda? Okay, is there a second? Any questions, or Brad, do you have any comments on any items on there? Okay, well, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Then I'm gonna change the agenda just ever so slightly. Is that we're gonna jump down to the certification of election results, and there are two items under that, and we're going to act on item number 1. That's acceptance of the County Board of Elections official results from the municipal election that was held on November 4th. Do I hear a motion that we accept those? Okay, do I hear a second?
Chairman, would you like me to read the results?
Sure, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
The results of the municipal election held on November 4th, 2025 is certified by the Alamance County Board of Elections show that for the office of town council, John Andrews received 182 votes, Henry Caruth received 172 votes, Wilbur Stokes received 139 votes, Lee Walls received 202 votes, and there were 7 write-in votes. Therefore, it has been determined that John Andrews, Henry Caruth, and Lee Walls have been duly elected members of the Town Council of Swepsonville for a term of 4 years.
Thank you. Okay. So do we have a motion to approve that? Should we have that already? Okay, the second? The seconds? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, what I would like to do next is that, Wilbur, will you come up here and join me?
No.
All right, well, I'll come over there. We have a proclamation that we're going to present to Wilbur tonight, and I'm just going to read it to you. This is a proclamation from the town of Swepsonville in recognition of Councilmember Wilbur Suggs, who served the town council from December 19th, 2017 to December 16th, 2025. Whereas, let it be known that Councilmember Wilbur Suggs has loyally, authentically, and with humility and reliability served the residents of the town of Swepsonville for the past 8 years on the Swepsonville Town Council. And whereas Councilmember Suggs is known for putting the good of the community first and for bringing levity and wisdom to difficult discussions in order to move forward in a positive and productive way. And whereas during his service, numerous projects were initiated through his support, which will continue to have a revitalization and growing impact on the town of Swepsonville. And whereas these years of service have been marked by exemplary dedication to the best interests of the community, and Councilmember Suggs has worked constantly for the betterment of Swepsonville, and whereas we wish Councilmember Suggs well as he departs from his time of service on the Swepsonville Town Council, and look forward to his continued involvement and positive contributions to the Swepsonville community for many years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Swepsonville Town Council that the town of Swepsonville does hereby recognize Councilmember Wilbur Suggs for his many accomplishments as council member to the town of Swepsonville, passed, approved, and adopted by the Swepsonville Town Council at the regular meeting held the 16th day of December, 2025.
It's been an honor and a privilege to be with you guys and participate in this, and hopefully it'll move the town forward.
No doubt, no
think we did, so thank you so much.
Thank you, love you.
Okay.
Thank you, Daddy. Just a picture real quick. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is swearing in John and Lee and myself, so let's do that.
Any family members that would like to participate, we would like to have you come up as well. I will now administer the oath of office to our three council members. We'll do all three together.
Is it right hand?
So if you'll place, no, I'm sorry, if you'll place your left hand on the
Oh.
Bible and raise your right hand.
Get it right.
And then repeat after me. All right. I state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
The
the
duties of
duties
my
of my
office.
office
as member of Swepsonville Town Council.
as member of Swepsonville Town Council.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, congratulations.
The next item is, we elect 3 officers from within the council. Those are the mayor pro tem, and finance officer. And so, does anyone have a nomination for the mayor?
I nominate Henry Caruth for mayor.
Second. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to nominate Drew Sharp.
Second that nomination.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then, third officer is the finance officer.
I'll nominate Joe Andrews.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so now we have to, be sworn in.
You gotta say aye.
I ain't said this many times since I got married.
Would you Swepsonville Town Council.
Swepsonville Council.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you all, appreciate that. So let's see, we've got two items now on a second consent agenda, and those are to approve the town council meeting schedule for 2026. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, we meet the third Tuesday of every month. I think we've had a rare occasion where we've had to move them, but most of the time they're the third Tuesday of the month. And that's one item. And then to approve an interlocal agreement with the city of Burlington to operate the Pet Adoption and Resource Center. Brad, can you give us 30 seconds on that? I don't know if you all know or not, but we contribute every year toward the operation of the animal shelter in Burlington, that the municipalities along with the county contribute to fund that operation. So,
Yes, so as it stands, town's been a part of that since 2005, and this amendment here, right now the contract runs yearly. This is to make it more of a long-term, give municipalities by the end of December 31st or no later than the end of the year to let them know if you're going to withdraw from it. And it also allows for yearly meetings for all managers involved throughout the county.
okay. Any comments or questions on the items on the consent agenda? Do I hear a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
New business, Franz?
Yes, Mayor, Council. Champion has finished the sewer rehab, line rehab, and manhole rehab work. We'll have a state closeout meeting with the contractor. There is some patching work that's to be done, that'll just be taken out of the funds for their project, or what's owed to them, and that will be completed by a separate entity. The water line project on Main Street is ongoing and progressing. Probably last another couple of months, finishing the line work, testing it, and then putting in the services and rehooking the folks up along the route. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Franz.
Thank you.
And then now I'm pleased to introduce Becky Boyd of Cobb Equal Boyd, who is the firm that does Swepsonville's audit. How many audits is this for you all, Becky?
Goodness, I don't know. It's been a while.
A bunch.
I'm not sure, but yes, I have done it for quite a while.
Welcome and look forward to hearing what you have to tell us.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. I have, our firm has completed the audit of the financial statements. We have not sent it to the LGC yet, so I don't have approval. That's why you don't have a bound copy yet. But we will be doing that hopefully tomorrow. So I'm going to start on the packet that you have on, it's about the third page in. It's the independent auditor's report. I'm sorry, it's page 1, but it's not numbered. So it's the first letter, and I'm just going to summarize that for you. You did have a yellow book audit this year. So there's 3 levels of audit. The lowest level has no compliance component to it. The yellow book has a little bit of compliance, but then if you get into single audit, you have a lot of compliance. So you're right in the middle. So that means that I, as an auditor, have to look at your controls and make sure that you've got good controls over your grant money, over your any money that the federal or state government is giving to you. If you're over 100,000, that's when you have to have that. And so you guys are at that higher level. Most everybody is, because all that grant money that got promised out is now being spent. And so the spending normally dictates when you have to have those levels of audit. So you are right in the middle, and depending on how the projects work out for 2026, you dual audit or state single audit, either one of those, depending on how that works out. Unmodified opinion, so we looked at all your controls, we look at the money that's coming in and going out and make sure that we don't see any area where there could be weakness in controls. If we saw a procedure or process that seemed like it would prevent fraud, that would be an area of, that we would look at and that we'd bring to your attention. And so we didn't have any issues like that. I mean, we looked pretty thoroughly, though, Amy and Brad can tell you, we ask a lot of questions because we want to add value in the audit by making sure that you do have some of those protections in place. So I'm glad to be able to report that you have an unmodified opinion. If you will turn to page 4, I'm just going to tell you what this is. This is a management discussion and analysis. It's pretty standard, so if you've looked through the financial statements in the past, it looks the same as it always has, but it's a narrative. And so it's an overview and analysis of the financial statements, but it's in a narrative format. And so it's a little bit easier to read what's written here and to be able to see the highlights that we would point out to you, rather than trying to dig that out of the financial statement numbers. So I just tell you that to know that, so that you know it's there. Okay, page 12. Now I'm going to dig into the numbers because we like numbers. So what you have in front of you is the full pool financial statement. And so that means that everything that has anything to do with the town is included in this financial statement. All your capital assets, your construction in progress, all your liabilities, all of that is included here. Governmental accounting does not always include that. So if you go to statement 3, exhibit 3, all that's not going to be included there. But I feel like it's a better picture of where the town is. So if you look at the first section and the first item, cash, that's always the most important thing. Your cash is at $8 million in regular cash and then $1 million in restricted cash. So that's an increase of $1 million over last year. So you are in a good, strong position as far as your cash is concerned. And you guys have been, for those of you who've been around for a while, you have been pretty good in your cash position, but I feel like some of that's gonna get spent. So, as the projects start to, or keep going and wind down, you're gonna spend some of that cash. So the general fund was an increase of $719,000 and the water sewer an increase of $360,000. So your general fund, you have about the same amount of cash in each, but your water sewer fund, all those projects are water sewer projects. And so I have a feeling some of that's gonna get converted into capital assets as you spend some of that money. So as you go on down, I just wanted to point out, due from other governments, you'll see the governmental activities 194, but the water sewer is 923,000. So the loan was executed for the Virginia Mills, the last project number 3 on Virginia Mills. The loan was executed, but you didn't get all that cash. You still have to spend it before they're going to give you the cash, but they executed the loan. And so we have to book that as a receivable to be able to do the double entry. You have to have somewhere to debit, and so that goes into the receivable. And so until when you draw that, as you draw that money in and spend it, that will come down. So that's the biggest part. And you actually have General Assembly money in there as well that you've been waiting to be reimbursed for. So kind of in a holding pattern there on some of the funds. As you go on down, you see the governmental bond, that's U.S. Treasuries, and that was an increase of 11, so it's steadily earning money on the bonds. And then the capital assets is the next section. You see the general fund doesn't have very many assets, but it's all in the water and sewer infrastructure, so that's $4 million. And the 785 is construction in progress. We have a lot of construction in progress. And so that's all your projects that have been started. And then, of course, you have depreciation that comes off of that every single year, so you have to keep that in mind. So your total assets are an increase of $2.4 million. So again, that's a good position. That's the increase in the cash of $1 million, the increase in the accounts receivable, and then the increase in the construction in progress. Those 3 things are what make up that increase. And then we go into the liabilities. And one of the things that the federal government has done over the last, 10 or so years is they've made you book all your liabilities. And we added another one this year. GASB 101 requires you to add sick pay. Now, you're never gonna pay out sick pay, but there is a liability there because you do continue to pay, even when somebody's not working to, you can use that for to be able to retire earlier. So it is an obligation that you still have. And so they required you to actually record that. And so this year, the total sick pay is $67,000. And so it will, once somebody retires, it will work its way down as they go through that retirement process. But we were required to record it. So we record sick, we record vacation, we record retirement. Everything that you have a future obligation for has been recorded in your financial statements. So you'll see that your total obligations for this, as of June 30, 25, are $455,000. As you go on down, that's the current. As you go on down, you'll see the Elders is the retirement. You have the current portion, but you also have the long-term portion, 179. And then your debt, that $800,000 debt for that project was recorded this year. So you're at $1 million in liabilities, which is a pretty big increase over last year. So your assets went up, but so did your liabilities. You still ended up with your unrestricted down at the bottom. Your unrestricted is still for your governmental fund is $5.6 million, and your water sewer fund is $5.9 million. So still really strong net asset position. Both of those increased. General fund by $665,000, and your water sewer fund by over $1 million. So good increases, good strong net asset balances there. Okay, so I'm going to go to something that'll be a little bit easier to digest, and that's on page 39. This is your budget to actual, and it also has the prior year listed. So it gives you a lot of comparables when you're looking at how the funds have done. So page 39 is your general fund, that's your governmental fund, and you'll see the local option sales tax is the first thing listed. Almost $1 million, an increase of $43,000, and that's just based on population. And then as you go down, most everything was consistent with the prior years. You didn't have any planning fee income this year, but that's just going to be based on when you have when that opportunity comes up. Your investment earnings are $144,000, increase of $42,000. So good increase there as well. So your total revenue went up about $70,000. And what's listed after that are your expenditures. And you really only had a couple of things that changed significantly between this year and last year. On page 40, you had about $20,000 in general expenses that you had in the prior year. Page 41, you had some Virginia River cleanup cost that you didn't have in the prior year. So when I look at your total expenditures on page 42, $750,000 compared to $713,000. So you had some increase in your total expenditures for your general fund. But when we take the expenditures away from the revenue, you still had an increase of $750,000. So that's where the increase in cash comes from, and the increase in your net assets comes from. You had more revenue than you had expenditure. So that's a good position. And then page 43 is your water and sewer fund. This one's a little different because there's lots of change from this year to last year in these numbers. So the water sales went up by $80,000, sewer by $68,000, tax by $55,000, and the system development fee income went up by $306,000. So all the things you put in place, the fees, the increases in the cost of water, sewer, all of that, we're seeing those increases, but we're also going to see big expenses going out. So I think it's critical that you're able to pay for those upfits that you need. So the total revenue, let's see, as you go on down here, the grant revenue went up for this year, and that's just based on what has come in, what's been spent, what's been reimbursed. There's a lot of things that are ongoing right now, so you're going to see fluctuation in that. And then again, the interest on the investments went up $37,000. So your total income went up $667,000, which is really good. Your total income is $2.6 million for the water sewer fund. So that's definitely a strong position. When we look at the expenditures, most of them are consistent until you get to page 44. You'll see engineering services under the water distribution and maintenance. That is for the AIA grant. And I think that's asset inventory assessed. Okay. And so that spending, that's the grant money that came in, and that's the spending of that grant money. And then, so you have a water component to that, and you have a sewer component to that on page 45, and that's an increase of $98,000. So really, that is the increase in your spending on the water sewer side, is the spending of those two grant items. So your expenditures are 1.7 million compared to 1.4, almost 1.5 last year. And that, excuse me, that gives you a revenue over expense of 380,000. So that's pretty typical. You know, you just have things in each year that are a little different. Last year you bought the meters, and so it just depends on what's actually going on as to how that spending works out. I wanted to just go ahead and let you look at page 47. 47 is your system development fee, and you'll see that since we started that, I don't know when that was, probably 5 years ago, there's almost $1.5 million in fees there. These do get moved to projects, and so occasionally that transfer will happen depending on the projects and where you are on the projects. But has been some income there. Page 48 is your sewer capacity projects, and you will see that, for those of you that remember from last year, project 1 and 2 were listed there with the revenue to support them. Those are done. You are now at project 3, and you have spent $516,000 of $1.5 million. And so, but I think that's gonna be less than that, yeah. So maybe about $1 million, I think? Yeah, okay. So you've still got some spending to do on that project, about $500,000. Page 49 is your water line replacement project, and you have just gotten started on that one. You've only spent $43,000, so you have over $1 million also to spend on that one. Page 50 is the Swepsonville Park. $350,000, you spent about half that. So you got about $200,000 to go on that. And then the last one is the autumn trace, and that is $300,000, and you've got about $250,000 to spend on that. So you've got some projects that are gonna take some spending, and so that's why you need all of those increases in the water sewer revenue to help cover some of these projects. The last thing you have in here is the yellow book letter that just states that we looked at the controls, as I mentioned. And I'm just gonna have you go to page 55 because there's nothing on it, and that's a good thing. It's the corrective action plan, and there were no findings, so we don't have a correction action plan. So that's a good thing. So just wanna point that out to you. Last thing I have is the letter that I am just required to give to the board. The letter that's loose, it just says that we audited under generally accepted auditing standards and that you report under generally accepted accounting principles and follow those. And we do, look at we do follow the GASB. And so when they require, we do it. And so you have the financial statement as you are supposed to. And so we look at the journal entries. If we are doing journal entries, when I say, your controls are good, when I'm doing journal entries, if I have to correct a bunch of stuff, then I'm gonna know there's something wrong, which is gonna be a big problem since we help you with the book. So we definitely don't want that to be the case. But if there were issues that we noticed as we go through and look at those, that would be an indication that there was a problem with the system of capturing all that data. And we didn't see anything like that, and we didn't see any kind of fraud that we were concerned about. Everything looked good, and we, of course, always have good cooperation from Amy and Brad with all the information we request, and so we greatly appreciate that, and greatly appreciate you working on it. We enjoy working with you guys, and excited to see what all this money's gonna do for Alamance County, really, because every municipal here is really in the same boat, spending the money, and hopefully that will better our infrastructure, and that's a good thing. So, do y'all have any questions on that side?
Yes, let's say questions, comments. Anybody? Yes, sir.
I am new in this city.
Uh-huh.
I moved here 2022.
Welcome.
why the water bill is so high? This is probably you have the highest water bill in the country.
Did you say in the country?
Yeah. You are buying the water from Grant,
That's correct.
and then you're checking it out by what percentage? And can you please disclose how the water bill has been going for the last 5 years?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, I can get it for you.
And how do we compare? How do you compare your rates to similar size city in the state? Also, I'd like to have that sometime.
It's been a while since I've looked at the comparative data, but we can certainly pull that back up and look at it. I can't tell you off the top of my head. Didn't mean to put Brad on the spot. We'll be glad to get some information together for you.
Yeah, you are raising up the rates, and I think I heard that you have to pay for, if somebody is sick.
It's, what I referenced was the sick time for the employees.
Employees,
Yeah,
even
they-
after they retire,
Say again?
even after they retire, you have to pay.
Let me speak to that a little, let me speak to that if I could. What Becky was talking about is that and help me if I get off the rails here, but that in the past, there were a different set of accounting principles, and now governments have to account for their obligations for benefits that we have promised to our employees. They have to show up on a balance sheet now. Am I
That is
right?
correct. You've always accounted for them. You've always had them. You've always kept up with them. You've always owed them. You're paying your employees for vacation and sick time, just like any other company. But now you have to report them. We didn't have to report the sick time in the past. Now we have to report it, but you've always had the obligation for it.
Same thing with pension obligation.
That's right.
And the LGRS is the state, local government employee retirement system. That we have to account for those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
And I will tell you, just as a point of reference, that the Local Government Commission, they actually have a tool. It's on the North Carolina Treasurer's website where you can go in and you can compare a lot of data with other towns and cities that are the same size. So if you're interested in that, you can go to it's www.nctreasurer.com, and you will be able to go, you can go in and use their tool and do a lot of comparisons. It's a little, it's a lot of work, but that tool is available if you want to look at that and compare.
Would you mind repeating that web address?
www.nctreasurer, nctreasurer.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just see me before he leaves, we'll get the great information to him, if you'll just ask him to see me before he leaves.
Yeah,
We'll contact.
if you can see Amy, our town clerk, after the meeting, she'll be glad to, and give her your contact information, we can get that for you. So,
And Mayor, I'd like to add too.
Yeah.
We don't have a local town tax, so to offset the fees for the water, so that's something to also consider. I know I lived in Raleigh, and we had to pay property taxes, and even though, yes, our water was a little bit lower, we also had to pay a lot of property tax. So we don't have that here in Swepsonville as much.
Yeah, but how do you do comparison to the, like each year there is some inflation. Does your tax increase more than that?
So Burlington goes up on our rate, just from them, about 4 to 5% every year. That's a flat amount that they go up.
That's on the sewer.
they treat our sewer.
That's just sewer. And then Graham goes up a percentage as well. So if you'll get with Amy, and then we can get you this information.
Any other questions, comments, council, or, yes, ma'am?
So
So I originally started coming because of the playground that was being proposed, and we saw plans, and then now I understand some of the money has been spent on playground equipment. Is there somewhere you can go to find that information, what was spent on what
Let's,
equipment?
when we get, if you could bring that up at the public comment part of the meeting, because we need to kind of get through this audit. Any other question about the audit? And do I hear a motion that we approve the audit that Becky has provided to us tonight? Second? All those in favor say aye. All right, then, Brad?
So I do have two quick updates. One is about the park. We are still working with Bob on some potential changes to the schematic design that have been done to date. We don't have a time frame yet for when that will be provided. A little bit of optimism that it may be for January, but we are making progress on that. When that is completed, I'll send that out to the council for their review and additional comments as well. The last thing is that the brownfields site assessment has been submitted to DEQ. They are in the review, so we're kind of waiting for them to finalize that, and then we'll have a meeting with them to see exactly where things stand and how we can potentially proceed with that as well. Send out hopefully in the coming days the final or the design of where we are now for that site plan, get additional feedback and comments on that, see if anything else needs to change as we get closer to having this meeting with DEQ.
All right, then, we have the public comment part of the agenda, so fire away.
I was just curious about the equipment that was approved or purchased, so that, I know we had discussed when they had the meeting, and the, drawings were up on the wall, and you got to see what it was looking like, and we discussed, what equipment was going to be bought, but I've never heard anything further.
So we've not bought any equipment. What's been spent to date has been on design and engineering work.
Where is that park going to go?
I'm sorry, where's it gonna?
Yeah, where's the park going to go? Where
Do you know where the old ballpark is?
Yes.
It's gonna go on the side of the old baseball park. And yeah, I'm pointing in the right direction, just make sure I have my bearings right. Yeah,
That area, some
Yeah.
of the surrounding of the ballpark also.
yeah. Other comments, questions? Okay. So hearing none, it's now time for town council comments. Lee, do you have anything?
No, I'm just happy to be here and look forward to working with all of you.
John?
I'm good.
Okay. Drew? Travis?
Not at this time.
I got a couple of things I'd like to share with you all. I'm finding here. I have a couple things I wanted to touch on, and first one is on November 18th, the town council conducted a public hearing on the annexation and zoning of property at the corner of Jim Minor Road at NC 54. Of course, that's the new Sheets location. There's more interest in this public hearing than any other one during my 8 years on the town council. In order to ensure an orderly and civil public hearing, attendees were required to sign up in advance and their comments limited to 3 minutes. While this may differ from our neighboring jurisdictions, it's not an uncommon practice throughout the state. Municipalities such as Mooresville, Shelby, and the village of Clemens follow the same practice. In order for our residents to feel their opinions have been conveyed and considered by the council while maintaining order and civility, I'd like tonight to ask our staff and our attorney to revisit the public hearing process and see what, if anything, needs to be changed. And as we're to just add one more point to that, during that process of looking into this, if we could get a summary of what the different municipalities in the county do regarding public hearings, including the board of commissioners. And then finally on this one, I'm also asking the staff to evaluate our audio and video options for future meetings. Second thing is that I'm very sad tonight that Wilbur Suggs was unsuccessful in his reelection attempt. It was an honor to serve with Wilbur during the last 8 years. He's been a dedicated council member and is an outstanding human being. The Swepsonville Town Council election is a nonpartisan race. I'm extremely disappointed that the Alamance County Democratic Party chose to make it into a partisan one. In my 8 years on the council, we have never taken a vote based on whether the motion under consideration was a Democrat idea or a Republican idea, or that the person putting the motion forward was a Republican or a Democrat. During the last 6 years, the council has been united in having the best interest of Swepsonville at heart. My hope is that the extreme partisanship that's infected elected representatives from Washington to Raleigh and to Alamance County won't take place here. I don't want our GOP-controlled state legislature to pass laws that make elections like the one for Swepsonville Town Council partisan. And thank you. Do I have a motion we adjourn? Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.